Welcome back, people, to another episode 62 of ThereWillBeDuds. That's right. I'm your co-host, TJ, aka J-Spot Jack Cheese, and with me as always,
I am Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch, and that's it.
I took a drink. I was thinking I would have more time, but I was like, oh no,
oh,
that's it.
I was just gonna say we should have names for this episode because of House. Like
what?
I could be like there's like Gorgeous and Fantasy and
okay.
Prof. Like I was like, what are our names?
I
don't know.
Damn it, I like that, but I can't think of it. Can't think of it.
It'll come to us.
Yeah. Speaking of, as always, and speaking of House, we watched House. I don't know. We watched the movie this week, and that movie is House, from 1977, directed by Nobuhiko Obayashi. It follows a high schooler named Gorgeous as she takes some of her friends to her aunt's countryside house for a summer break vacation. She hasn't seen her aunt since she was a little kid. They get to the house and they are slowly, one by one, consumed by said house. And it is a very fun and wacky way to depict 7 teenage girls being eaten by a house. So
yeah, it's a little
that's House.
It's light on the plot, but it's heavy on the visuals and the effects and the psychedelic stuff.
Yeah, like that plot description sounds super like straightforward, and it was easy. That was probably one of the most like
easy synopsis.
Yeah, because I kind of bumble around the synopses a lot, but that was just like boop boop boop, that's it. And yet watching the movie, it's like there's so much more like beyond that, I guess.
Yeah.
About the movie. Yeah, it's so I had not seen it before, but I've known about this movie for years, mostly because like this cover that I have.
It's very striking.
It's always stuck with me, and I was like, I have to see that movie at some point. It's a I'll say this. I kind of think I don't know. I don't even want to say that it ruined the movie for me or anything, because I like the movie. I'm not saying that like I didn't like the movie. But I feel like I've watched too many or heard too many people talk about this before watching it, because everybody says it's fucking nuts. It's the most insane movie you'll ever see. And like they might be right. And yet I still got the sense that like this movie isn't as crazy as I was expecting. It's pretty crazy. It's not as crazy as I was expecting.
Yeah.
It's very like I was kind of expecting to just not know what was going on at all at any point. And not that that's a bad thing. I think it's good to have a crazy visual extravaganza and crazy editing and all this shit and still be able to follow it. Like that's good.
Yeah,
That's a score for the filmmaker. But it's just it was different. It was different than I was expecting in that regard.
Yeah, I've definitely had that happen to me before. I mean, that's kind of my experience with like all the Wong Kar-wai movies that we watched, where I had heard people online talk so much about just like In the Mood for Love. We watched that not too long ago, and it was good. It was really good, but it didn't leave me with that like gut-wrenching feeling that everyone else online seemed to have had from that movie. And I was like, oh, like it was good. It was fine.
Yeah.
I guess Wong Kar-wai just kind of, I like him as a director, but the way that people hyped up the stuff, and then actually watching it, I was like, oh, I mean, it's fine. It was good.
Yeah.
I wanted to be devastated, and I wasn't.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say I had more than I liked this movie a lot more than just like it was good. But
Yeah.
it's just as far as that in that particular aspect, it was not as crazy as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, I'll say like from a and it's almost like I appreciate the movie maybe a little more than I like enjoyed watching it, I guess. Cuz there's so many cool like practical
sequences.
like really really cool effects, like how they do stuff, because obviously this is the 70s and they don't have CGI and shit like that. All practical, and so much of it like really it looks cool, it looks legit, but then they'll have stuff that looks super staged. Like Kalia came home like halfway through the movie from work, and it was like a scene where they're outside maybe at the well, and you see like the superimposed like clouds in the background, and she was like she was like, she didn't know anything about the movie, and she's like, that looks fake. And I was like, yeah, I know, like it's not trying to look real, really. Like,
yeah.
I didn't like I was just like, yeah, it does.
I like that aspect of it, like when Gorgeous and her dad are like talking on the balcony, and it's very lit. It's like very dreamy the way that it's lit, and like the clouds, you can tell the clouds aren't moving, and it's like a painting.
Yeah.
It reminded me, well, I mean, this came well after this, but it reminded me almost of like this resurgence in making like PS1 styled horror games. There's like that sort of dreamy aspect to it. I don't know. That's what it made me think of when I saw it, like a dream, like that sort of. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, have you heard of Petscop before?
No.
Oh, okay. We should check it out. It's kind of hard to summarize, I guess, in a thing, but it's not an actual PS1 game, but I don't know. You just have to check it out.
See.
It's like it's a YouTube series that a guy made, kind of in the vein of like Ben Drowned, but he literally built, like, I think he's just running it on an emulator IRL, but he built a PS1 game from the ground up and said like, and the whole thing is just him. He's doing like a playthrough, like a let's play of it, and it just gets like weirder and weirder as he goes along.
Oh, okay.
It's really neat. But
Yeah.
I think something like Petscop is kind of like in that vein of like, the reason that I think it's so effective and why it's kind of gripped so many people is that weird ethereal vibe that those kinds of games have.
Yeah, the one that I'm thinking of, there's a game called Mothered, and it's in that same PS1 style, but it's like you're a kid and your dad takes you back to your mom's house, and there's like a very dark backstory that you kind of get through pieces, but it, like, you wake up in the morning and like, I swear the light is exactly the same as how it is in that scene in House. That sort of like early morning, the sun is coming through and it's like kind of foggy and hazy, and like the way that the music, I don't know, it just made me think of that. Like, I guess I just really like that sort of aesthetic. So like all those scenes of like the staged like backdrops and shit like that, I was into it. I really like it.
Yeah. Well, I read and I guess this is why I was asking if you like looked in the background of it, that he actually, so I guess let's start from the beginning. So basically this is Japan's response to Jaws. They wanted a big, because Jaws is like the first like summer blockbuster movie like ever, and they wanted their own like version of it. So they hired this dude who like didn't even work for Toho, which is why it took so long to be made, because nobody else wanted to direct this, and he couldn't direct it because he didn't work for Toho, even though they had him write it, and I think it was like he came up with the concept of like the house or like haunted house type thing, I think. But then he consulted his daughter, his like 10-year-old daughter at the time, and he basically asked her, what do you think would be interesting to see, or what would be scary? So she would tell him like when she was playing the piano once, or like if she made a mistake, her teacher or instructor or whatever would like slap her hands, and she said that it felt like it was like the piano like biting her or something like that. And and then she'd be like, it would be really scary if a piano ate me. So like really childish ideas and stuff like that. And she even has a credit in the credits as story consultant, which I think is really cute.
That's good. I like that.
And yeah, so the whole movie like plays out like a child's fantasy in a way, and the movie making really echoes that too. And I think that's what makes the even like the fake looking special effects still work, because it's like it's so hyper fantasized, and it's so like it's like a childlike or whatever, so it's like that's how like a kid would see it or something. I don't know, just it works even when it doesn't look real, and when it does look real it still works. Like
like what would be scary for like a little kid, and then it's like the skeleton in the background that's like kind of dancing around, or I guess your head falling off into a well.
Yeah, that was another one that was her idea. Like, I guess at her grandparents' house, they actually did, like, that's how they cooled the watermelon, because they didn't have a refrigerator. And she, like, had that thought, I guess, and brought that to him. Fuck, that was just going to lead me to... Oh, yeah, I was just going to say that the skeleton thing that you mentioned, that's the stuff that, like, I think got the biggest, like laughing reaction out of me, because most of the major stuff I knew about but like when Melody is playing at the piano and it does that like long pan around, and then there's just this skeleton in the background dancing behind her, that was like one of the hardest I laughed at the movie. It was great.
Yeah, it's a barrage of very ridiculous scenarios. It's I don't know, it's very stylistic too in the way that it does it, like
extremely.
Because we watched it, I think we watched it last fall after Travis was like, I just watched House, like, you know, I hope it gets pulled, we gotta watch it. And so I was just like, it kind of fit into like our spooky movie, you know, season, so we're like, screw it, let's watch it. And so seeing it a second time, I did forget about some of the insane shit that happens. But my first note was just about like the town song before they're about to go to the house, and it was like, this sounds like a 1970s breakfast commercial. like I could see this being a commercial for like Wheaties or Cheerios or something from back in the day. So yeah, we've got our main characters. It's like, is it 7 girls, 6?
It's 7 specifically, because I remember in the I watched like the behind the scenes or like retrospective thing on the Blu-ray, and he referenced 7 Samurai as being like why he chose 7 girls.
It says it in the book, in like the liner of the movie too. I read it. It's like, you know, Kira Kurosawa had his 7 Samurai, and I think there was another example of another like Snow White and the 7 Dwarves. I think was like the other example that they used. Because they're all kind of named similarly. Like there's Dopey, there's Sleepy, but these ones are Gorgeous, Prof, Mac. Which I like. Mac is just short for stomach.
I did not realize what that. I thought it was like Mac, because some people say you're like macking on that burger or something like that. But yeah, it's short for stomach.
And the teacher, I love that. The whole time they're like, Mr. Togo, he's so dreamy, and then it's a frumpy dude with mutton chops.
I wrote down when he popped, I put, that's the hot teacher. He looks like fucking Dwight Yoakam or some shit. Like,
yeah, he does.
Apparently that band Go Daigo, they're also like when there's like the group of dudes like kind of standing and clapping like at the bus station with them. That's the band. That's their cameo.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there's the guy who did the score, who is actually the Watermelon Man.
Yeah.
He like wrote the themes, and I guess the director wanted him to like do the whole thing, but another thing with him being like, I'm not gonna put my name to this movie sort of thing, even though he's fucking in it.
Yeah.
But I guess it was the thing, like he's like, I'm a movie, I make music for movies, I'm not making music for this one. But he wrote like some of the themes, like he did the main theme,
the piano theme that plays like throughout the entire thing.
Yeah. Those, yeah. I played a lot. But that band, I guess they actually did all the recordings. So like he wrote some of the melodies and stuff, but they recorded all of the tracks and then also their like serial commercial songs, because they do the one they would do the one during the credits too, which is also like has vocals and stuff like that. And this is the thing, like if I well, I mean Travis seems to really like this movie a lot, but I was thinking of, you know, Chungking Express and
how it uses
California Dreamin', and I was like, it was getting annoying after a little while, and I was like if I was Travis, I'd be like, oh, this movie's a 2 because they play this song a lot and it annoys me. And like the song was pretty annoying at the end just because it's so much.
Yeah,
but I still mostly like the movie, you know, like it might, you know, dock it a little bit, but you know, it's not like it ruined the movie or anything. And like I liked it at first, but it's just that it feels like it's almost constantly when there's not another song being played. Yeah,
well, I feel like the music is kind of its own character in this, because everyone seems to have their own little stinger. Like Kung Fu has hers whenever. Yeah, whenever she goes to like karate chop a door, it sounds like Thundercat a little bit, like with like the bass. Like,
well, I'm pretty sure it's imitating like old Kung Fu music.
Yeah,
movies at the time, but the like woodwind flute thing.
Yeah. And then there's one that plays a little bit less often, but it's usually when like they all like run away from a room and they're running through the house.
Is that the one that's bump up da 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 da? Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah, it's I wish there was more representation of the other tracks, because every time there was a new track, I was like, oh, like they were all very interesting, you know.
Yeah, and then a minute later, we're back.
Bing,
with
bing, the up. I said that it sounded a lot like the up theme. It's just missing a note or two, because it had like the dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
I might have just done the up song. It's very similar. It's just like take away a note or two.
It made me think of I can't place it, but it made me think of a song from Paper Mario. Like I feel like it had the same instrumentation. It might be the XS Express from Thousand Year Door.
Okay.
Like when you're on the train.
Yeah. You have to think.
No, it might be Poshley Heights.
That main dun 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 or whatever.
It's a very like simple childlike melody.
Yeah.
Which I guess is a recurring theme in the movie.
Yeah.
My other note was like lizard jump scare, which there's it's like when they first get to the house and like she turns on the chandelier. And she like kicks one of the crystals from the chandelier and it goes into the wall, and then like one just like lands through a lizard, and like the cat goes and starts eating it.
Yeah.
Just these random ass like reality breaking moments that happen.
Yeah.
Did you also think of the piano from Super Mario 64 when it was eating her?
I didn't. I can't believe I didn't. No. That,
I wonder if that's an inspiration for that game. Because I think House was like a big movie and like
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was as big as like Jaws because obviously they're a little different.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that was like sort of because that is in like a haunted mansion level. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it said it was a commercial success, but not critical.
Well, yeah, the insert said that it was like the B movie in a double feature.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you'd go see this movie and then like this would be like the midnight, you know, spook fest.
Yeah, yeah.
Which those types of, like horror movies or like spooky movies kind of struggle in terms of like being regarded. Like horror movies are never like up for any Academy Awards kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're hard to be like taken seriously as an art form.
Yeah. I didn't. Oh yeah, the Super Mario thing. I didn't think of that, but I did, and I actually had to look it up because I was really trying to see if it was inspired by this, and I don't think it was. I from what I understand, it's just like an old Japanese folktale. But there's the part where I think it's Melody is in the bathroom, and somebody's outside, maybe Fantasy, and she like sticks her hand out the door, and she's like, I think she says, "I need toilet paper," or something like that, like the hand in Majora's Mask. Yeah, and I guess that's an old. Well, it's taken from. This one I'm not sure. It could be both that Zelda took the inspiration from, because all I saw was that there's a old Japanese folktale about Hanako-san, which is just a hand in the toilet that grabs you when you sit on it, basically.
Okay.
I don't think I saw anything about it, the toilet paper. So I wonder they maybe got that from this, because it's like the same thing. Like she does, like the way that she kind of like floats her hand like that and then says that. I'm not sure. There could be more that says more specifically about the folktale, but
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, because I think this movie is also very pop culture heavy. I mean, there are things that we don't get as an American audience, but from like reading the liner notes, I think there were like a few references to some big stars at the time. Like there were two, like, you know how when we have like Hollywood power couples, we like, you know, it's like Bradgelina. I think there was in the liner notes it said that there was like an actor and actress who like appeared in movies a lot together, and they were like collectively known as like Domo Tomo. It was like kind of like a combination of their two names.
Okay.
And I think there was some sort of reference to them or like characters that looked like them in a scene.
Okay.
So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this movie influenced like Japanese pop culture in a way that, like, you know, people that worked on Mario and Zelda at the time, they're probably like, oh yeah, like I got into game design and storytelling because I love movies, and House is one of my favorite movies that, you know, they pay homage to it. Yeah.
Yeah, this does seem like something that could inspire like any filmmaker, just because it's got just so much going on. And really cool, like, really interesting editing, most of which worked. There's only one scene where I was like, okay, let's go, and it was Melody's death, like that, and that's one of the most famous deaths, or most well-known deaths in the movie, getting eaten by the piano. But like,
yeah,
it went on for too long for me. Like, there was too much shit there. That was the one case where I was like, let's get past this. I get it. It's wacky. This movie is wacky. Okay.
Yeah.
And then she like ends it with like looking at her naked torso and be like, oh, so naughty. And I was like, okay. It's okay. Should have ended this like 20 seconds ago.
Yeah, there is a sort of weirdly like voyeuristic aspect of this movie that it's like they're all like supposed to be high school aged girls, and like they all are like either like scantily clad. Yeah.
Yeah, and the only one that doesn't is Kung Fu, who's like in underwear for the whole movie.
Yeah, she like doesn't she fight off? She fights off something, and I think her skirt rips, and then it's like, okay, well I guess there's definitely like an upskirt shot too. Like I think
is there
when it's like they're under and it's like glass, and it's just like, okay, yeah, all right, yep. But I feel like that's also part of, I don't know if it's part of Japanese culture, like the whole school upskirt schoolgirl shit. Like at least in like anime, I feel like that's like a big thing.
Well, there was a part. Well, yeah, I don't know why it's like that in particular, but yeah. Apparently, there's a part at the end. Because there's a part with her stepmom after. But like the climax of the movie, when it's Fantasy is the only one left, and she sees Gorgeous like on the steps, and then there's like the shot. It's kind of like the like Virgin Mary with, I don't know if that's what it was trying to do, but like the Pieta like imagery. Yeah. And she has like an exposed Gorgeous, like one of her boobs are out. Yeah. And I guess she was really nervous about doing that scene, so the chick that played the aunt, she just like took her, like, she wasn't in the scene, but like she was on set, so like to kind of in a way to, in solidarity or whatever, she like took off her top and be like, okay, you know, see, now it's not just you, sort of thing, and that kind of gave her like the confidence boost to be able to do that. And then the director said that like I don't even remember where this was, because I guess I only really remember the girls, the teenagers being the ones who were naked at any time. Yeah. But he said that they added in a scene with the aunt topless because he liked her boobs so much. He was like, you have wonderful breasts. Can we put that in a scene now? Basically.
Oh my god.
And he said that like it was just like normal. Like, yeah.
Well, I feel like at the end, wasn't it kind of flashing between them? Like when she's on the steps, it was kind of flashing between Gorgeous and the aunt. Okay. So I think that might have been in there. Okay. Because then, she like crawls up and like she puts her head on her chest and like calls her mommy or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that might be it. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the melody being eaten by the piano, and like, doesn't that happen? It happens, and again, I think when Kung Fu dies, like I feel like her arms and legs go flying, and then like, it reminded me a lot of like some Evil Dead 2 kind of like prop comedy, like the drawer like opens and shuts, because I noticed that happened a few times, almost like I can only describe it as like YouTube poop, like when you're like kind of scrubbing back and forth, like one of the King of the Hills, where he'll be like like there's like the part where Mr.
Togo,
what's his name again?
Togo,
like I think when he gets there's a scene where he's like getting bonked on the head, but it's just like the same one bonk, like in it, like reversed, like really quickly back and forth.
It's like particularly with Mr. Togo is where they just get like, he's like desynced from reality or something like that, because he especially is just like always weirdly edited. Like he trips over it's Blanche. He trips over Blanche like going down the steps.
Oh, the bucket.
And then it's that weird like stop motion. Yeah. And then he's like eating ramen with a bear.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was like
the bear.
We got. I can't remember. I don't remember the order, but there was some wacky shit at the house. And Clea was like, "I hate this movie," and then it got to, and again, like I she didn't know anything about, like, I feel like you do kind of need to prep people for this movie, and I wasn't necessarily planning on her watching
like
any
showing
of
up
it.
to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. But then it got to that part with him eating with the bear, and she's like, okay, I like this movie now.
Yeah, and then his fate is ultimately he gets turned into bananas.
Yeah. Yeah. That was... Yeah, isn't it because he goes up to... I can't remember that scene, because he just, like, goes up to the watermelon man, and they're just, like, yelling at each other for a while, and then he's like, do you like watermelons? And he's like, no, bananas. And then the watermelon man turns into a skeleton. And then Mr. Togo turns into bananas. So it's done a really, like, I like how it's funnier the way that it's done too, where I think you just see Mr. Togo, like, fall over into his car, and then there's like 20 more maybe not 20, because this movie is really short. There's like 10 more minutes of, like, you get through the whole climax, and then it comes to the stepmom, like, arriving at the house, and there's just a pile of bananas in the car.
Yeah, well, it's like, I think it's shaped like him.
Yeah,
it's like shaped like a body, and so it's like, oh, okay, well, he just got turned into bananas.
Yep. And at that point, you're like, all right, okay, yeah, I get it.
After everything else you've seen, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. That's fine.
I keep like sidetracking myself and talk about other stuff, because again, there's a lot to talk about. But next to, like, the crazy editing is, like, and I guess kind of also goes hand in hand with, like, special effects too, but like really cool in camera effects and stuff, like instant, like, first scene, there's like they're doing their little Instagram shoot, because it's in, like, the 4x3, and they're doing, like, a shoot, and then there's a panning shot of, I think, Gorgeous, and she's, like, walking to the side, and then she gets to a point where it, like, snaps, and she matches with the background, and then she keeps moving, and, like, the picture-in-picture, the Instagram thing, like, disappears, and, like, that was like, okay, that was, like, my moment, like, early on, where I was like, okay, cool, this movie's gonna be cool. Because I thought that was so... It was just really cool. It, like, how they matched that up and stuff. And I watched it back, and I don't even remember now if it was the same shot. I think it had to have been the same shot, because it was, like, too perfect. But it was so cool. It still kind of surprised me.
There's a lot of... I don't know. I guess I appreciate when a movie does stuff like that, like the in-camera tricks, but also, I guess, when the editing itself almost becomes like a character, the way that they'll do, like, that sort of, like, I forget what it's called. It makes me think of from Passion of the Lynch, when Travis spits in my mouth, where, like, you see the same reaction, the same scene done from 3 different angles, and it's sort of, like, kind of messes with, like, the flow of time, I guess, how you would think in the context of the movie. But that happens a few times, I feel like, where it'll just do these weird, like, cuts to, like, different characters, and it's kind of jarring, but it's kind of cool how they do it to like give the movie, like, a certain feel. Or, like, whenever it would just, like, the screen would go black, and, like, just Blanche would be circled out.
Yeah, I like that cat. Also, there's I really needed to, like, at least scrub through this movie again before doing this, because there's a lot of stuff from, like, I don't 100% remember, but there's a close-up of Blanche at the end, and I think it is what there's, like, a meme image.
Yes,
you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Is it the exact same one? Yeah, the, like, shaking.
I'm pretty sure, because I think
I've always loved that shot.
I think that's someone has tagged me in that as, like, you know, the cats when you come home from work, and it's like a looping image of the cat, like, doing that face. You know what? I'm pretty sure that is, because I watched it last night, and I was like, holy shit, I think that's a meme. That's so funny that like came from House.
Yeah.
Yeah, you only see it for, like, a split second.
Yeah. Maybe that's why when I watched it, because it's just, god damn, that whole sequence is like so fucking nutty. There's like, it's fucking insane.
Yeah, people compared it to, or in the liner notes, someone talked about it like The Shining, like the scene when the elevator opens and like blood goes pouring out. That's kind of similar. Where, again, it's like almost like Evil Dead-y, pre Evil Dead, the way that like everything in the house just like starts, animating, and then the blood starts shooting out of the cat's mouth, and like everything kind of comes alive, and then it floods in.
Yeah. Yeah, there's even a part where that made me think of the Evil Dead where it like yeah, there's a part where it just like shows a few inanimate objects just like moving, and then like some drawers just like open and close, and really quick, and that was like very
like
Evil
the scene
Dead
when when like the mounted deer comes to life and starts yelling.
Yeah.
And like Ash starts laughing, and like you see everything start to animate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot that like there's the part where Kung Fu is inside the light and you basically see all of the girl's tits. That's awesome.
It's like, I
just got to the part with Blanche.
It's and like then, they have to do a curtain call on all of their boobs. Like
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, the blood flood scene though too is like, even that's like, because like they would have had to have built like an enclosed like space for that, and then literally they're flooding it with this fake blood or whatever. Also in that scene is another cool trick that I learned from the behind the scenes thing, that how they showed Prof dissolving in the blood there was like they had her suspended like in front of a blue screen, and they just poured blue paint on her so that she like
that's
went
cool
in the background. Really,
there's
really creative stuff like that. And and the way that he just like, 'cause they were referencing that when they were talking about a couple other effects too, and like they basically came up with these ways to depict stuff like that like on the spot, like on the day. And he was like, and we didn't really have computers back then, so I didn't really know if these would work. And he said that they tried some other ones that ended up like not working, and they would have to like redo it or just like cut it out or whatever, which makes me want to be like, oh well, what other shit did you guys try? Like, I want to, like, if they tried it again or if they did it a different way, could they have gotten it to work better?
Right. Yeah, I feel like for movies back in the day, I feel like green screens weren't really like utilized. Like if they were, it was probably just to like put in like a backdrop of like a really quick like cutaway to something. But this, they use like green screens and like chroma keys and shit like that very, very creatively. Like there's the part where the ant is like jumping around in the rafters, and it's like you can tell she's like CGI'd in there.
Yeah.
Or not CGI, but like green screened in there.
Yeah.
But I was like, the fact that they were able to like do that and it looks pretty good for 1977, I kind of gave it a pass.
Yeah.
It's like they could do this in 1977, but with Who Killed Captain Alex, they still have him like jumping around like that on the screen.
Yeah. But that also, like I said, like with the sky like matte shit, like it still works for the movie.
It's like it's a stylistic choice. Like they're not going for like super realistic looking, green screen shit.
Yeah. Obviously. I think even back then, like if they were trying to go like full realism, it would, like, they can make it look a little bit better than this if they were trying to. Because I mean, this is Toho, which is like the biggest, I want to say, like that's like not Disney in the sense of like their content, but as far as like how big of like a like it's like the big one studio or Japanese production company,
right?
Because it's also the one that did Kurosawa's movies and Godzilla and stuff like that. So
right.
There was I noticed they had the painting Christina's World in Gorgeous's bedroom, which I feel like was on purpose.
Wait, what is that?
Christina's World. It's an Andrew Wyeth painting. And I guess it represents. It's like a dreamy sort of painting. I don't know. I feel like that was supposed to like kind of, that was done intentionally to be like, oh, you know, it's like, because it's about like it kind of represents, I guess, like a longing for I don't know. I feel like I'm putting too much emphasis on something like that. Like I meant to just mention it as like a side thing, like, oh hey, I noticed they had that painting in there and I think it was on purpose. But I also don't I don't really think that you're supposed to like think super like deep about stuff like that in this movie. But
well, I mean, it could kind of work because for Gorgeous, it is kind of a coming of age movie in like a very, very abstract sense. Because like what sets everything off is her father, who's like a film composer, who's said he's better than Morricone, which is funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's kind of glossed over, but you know, he says, okay, well, this is your new mom. I've met somebody. And Gorgeous is like, no, I'm going to my aunt's house. And that's kind of what sets everything off.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, that painting being in her room and then her character arc kind of, you know, I could see it.
Yeah. I'm not saying there's no reason for that to be there. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if I should like pick apart stuff like that. Like,
whoa, why was it in there? Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, scores.
Yes.
I guess I'll go first. I don't think I've went first in a little while. I really appreciate the movie for all its technical merits. It's a very fun movie to watch. I was thinking this would be a great movie to watch with a group of friends. Similar but different in the way to like a good dud movie or spud. But with the knowledge that by the end of it, there's a good chance that one of your friends is going to hate the movie and hate you for making them watch it. So just keep that in mind. I'll stick. I guess I'll go with a solid number with this. I think I'll go with. I'm between 7.5 and 8 on this. I feel like as a movie watching experience, it's around a 7 or 7.5. But with all the other shit, with all the everything else I appreciate about it, I'll move it up to an 8, I guess.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Because you know, I'll still count that towards
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much at a 7 as well ish. I think creatively it's insane what they were able to do with like limited technology and like the cool workarounds with how they were able to get the the outcome that they wanted with sort of in-house camera or in-camera effects and special effects and how they were able to do all that. It's insane. As a movie going experience, I would say I'm not gonna like I'm gonna watch a movie. This is probably not gonna be at like the top of my list of stuff to go to. But as a watch with your friends or watch around like Halloween season, it's like a themed kind of movie like that where like I would easily throw that in with my rotation like Halloween, autumnal movies. But that being said, a lot of those movies that I watch don't typically make it out of like that rotation. Like I'll still watch like The Thing because I think that movie stands up on its own, but it's also like a good, creature feature or horror movie to watch around Halloween times. So all that being said, yeah, I'm at a 7 with it. Watch it with your friends. It's a super trippy experience, and it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I forget that like 7 is good. 7 is like really good in our rating scale.
Yeah, I know. I do too. I'm still. This is the thing. Like I'm looking at it again. And I'm like, I feel like I should go down to a 7.5. I'm gonna go down to a 7.5. Sorry.
Okay.
I do that a lot. Cause yeah, you're right. Like I was thinking like that was like too harsh, but it does feel right. At the same time, like if it was purely just on a like respect standpoint, it's like a 9. It's like it's super high. It's just that like like you said, as a movie, it is something. It's very unique, but it's not like something that I'm gonna rush out to see. But also, it's very special, and it's like seeing that like our composite score is gonna be a 7.25. It kind of feels wrong in a way for this movie, and like the 7s kind of feel wrong, but also I don't know. Like I want to say it's like it's a 7.5, and yet I feel like everybody should watch it kind of movie. Like anybody who likes who's a cinephile, anybody who likes movies, this is like a must watch. I feel like
especially like standouts in a genre or like innovators and pioneers of certain aspects of filmmaking. Like this is one that you should see as like if you are a cinema lover and like an artist and you like making movies and shit. This is something you should see.
Yeah. Yes. That's the way to put it. It's just so. Yeah.
The polar opposite of that one shitty movie that you were talking about earlier with the cats.
Yeah.
This is the one where the cat's calling the shots.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, because actually, I guess towards the end of this, Kalia then again said that like this is like experimental movies that I saw like college age guys make that I just hated, and I was like, if this movie was taking itself seriously, it could be like the most annoying, like dumb movie ever. But like he's not trying to like say anything. He's not commentating on anything. He's literally just like, I'm making like a movie for my daughter, basically. Yeah. And I want to make it fun and wacky and, entertaining. And in that regard, like that's how it gives a pass. But if you had like all the weird editing and all that shit, and it was like trying to be deep, like Shot and Tango. Yeah. I don't think it would be work.
Well, they're trying to get their own blockbuster thrill ride Jaws type movie, and this is that was their goal.
Yeah. And also just like in a like the concept of like a house eating a group of girls. I don't know if it's ever been done this like like literally like the different ways that the house consumes them. It's like, oh yeah, that you like actually using like mattresses and like elements of the house to actually like them is really cool. Speaking of
really cool.
Yeah, sure. Ad break.
Yes.
I think we're back.
I'm thinking we're back.
So we recently got we had Apple TV on the TV in our bedroom, but I don't really I don't know. I'm not a bedroom guy, so I don't like I go to my bedroom to sleep. So I don't really like watching TV in the bedroom that much. But we just got it on the TV downstairs. I guess like Khalil thought that we couldn't get it for some reason, but then we did. But anyways, we got it to watch Severance, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But then after we finished Severance, we started watching the newest Attenborough documentary, David Attenborough documentary, which I've been wanting to see for a while because I watch like all of that shit. I just fucking eat that shit up. And I'm really interested in this one because it's like different. It's Prehistoric Planet. And I'm assuming you've seen like Planet Earth, or like have you seen any of
I have not seen a lot of like Earth nature documentaries. I know of David Attenborough. He's like I know like he's a soft-spoken like British guy, right? Like that's kind of the whole deal.
Yeah.
Haven't actually seen any of them, but I get the gist, I suppose.
Okay. Well, it's exactly like Planet Earth. It's nature style documentary. Whereas in those they film animals and he'll narrate over like, oh, this is a a mountain lion and she's caring for her cubs and she needs to go get food to feed them, and also a lot of times there's a lot of fucked up shit that happens because that's nature.
Yeah.
Especially in, I think the previous one, before Prehistoric Planet. I always think that I say that I've seen everyone, but I know that there's some that I haven't because I'll always be like, oh, it's the new one, and then there'll actually have been like one or two in between the last one. I'll be like, oh fuck, okay. But the last one he did for Netflix was Our Planet, and that was like all about basically the human impact on nature, and it is
so uplifting stuff.
Very uplifting. But it sucks to watch. But he's a major like conservancy like proponent and like animal rights like dude. So he does shit like this specifically to be like, yeah, look at it, like see what we have wrought upon the world.
Right.
I still hate it. I still hate watching it. And but anyways, Prehistoric Planet is that, but dinosaurs. The really cool thing is that like it's not all CGI. Like they still shot it in the same, like they went out to all these different locations and they got all these shots IRL, and then basically consulting with like paleontologists and shit, construct all of the creatures that you see from the ground up, because it's all dinosaurs, which aren't alive anymore. But it says that, like, all of the shit that they like depict in it is like based on science, like, and they have like little behind the scenes things like showing it, like how did we find this out that we could say that like in the like one of the first things you see is like a T-Rex swimming with her kids, and it's like oh, we can prove that T-Rex could swim by these things and this evidence and stuff. It doesn't go into that in the episode. The episode is presented like it's a nature documentary filming like today, and he's doing awesome. He's doing commentary like he would for any of his other documentaries.
Like he's actually observing them like in real life.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Exactly. And yeah, it's really, really cool. Like, hands down the best CGI of like dinosaurs, at least in like a TV show, because a lot of like TV shows with dinosaurs especially like look like shit. There's a couple moments. It's not like 100%. It's not 100% fidelity the entire time, but I am surprised how good it looks, and they utilize lighting and everything really well to make it look realistic. And it's, I don't know, it's, as far as like CGI trying to imitate like life, it is the best that I think maybe I've ever seen. And like not just in like how it looks, but how they act. Like there's moments where you're watching it and you have to remind yourself like, oh shit, like this isn't actually happening.
Real. Yeah.
But it's like the way that they act. It's like this is how animals act, you know?
Right.
And it's really cool. Like you can tell the amount of effort they put into researching what the shit that they're talking about and making it feel real. And like they feel like real animals, and you're like it's an interesting way to like put dinosaurs in perspective of just like, yeah, they're animals. Like that's all they are.
Right.
They're just like any other animal. And
right.
We haven't finished it yet, but you know, I'm assuming the rest of the series will be the same.
Is it like a multi-part series, or is it like one long?
It's 5 episodes.
Okay.
That's how they usually are, like shortish seasons like that, and each episode is a different biome. So there's oceans, forests, deserts, ice worlds, and wetlands are the ones for this one. And it'll just, you know, the different dinos that are in those. A lot of babies being eaten, because that's what usually happens in like the real ones.
Yeah.
But it's not. There hasn't been anything which I'm grateful for. There hasn't been anything as fucked up as like some of like, it's still like a bummer to see that, but at least you're like, okay, that is the circle of life. That's nature and everything. But the shit that happens in like the documentaries that aren't, where it's, especially when it's because of people, because of us changing nature and destroying the planet, it's awful. It's like legitimately, like some of the stuff that has happened in those documentaries is like the absolute worst I have ever felt watching a piece of media, or like consuming a piece of media. There's a couple other things, but that I think are contenders for like making me feel like shit, but there's some fucking terrible shit that happens in it.
Man, knowing all that stuff really makes me wish that I could implant a chip in my brain so I didn't have to I don't know. I was gonna mention speaking of like having blank spaces, we just had to cut out a chunk where I talk about all the fucked up stuff that David Attenborough forces on his viewers. I still highly recommend them. They're amazing pieces of like nature documenting. Just be prepared that you're probably going to be bummed out at least a couple times per series. But I think Prehistoric Planet is a good it's a good primer, because it's not happening for real, you know? Yeah.
And the worst that has happened is that, you know, predator eating prey. There hasn't been anything like worse than that. I don't know if he's going to force that in. I hope not, because then it is just like, hey, come on. You didn't have to do this. You
get off on this, don't you, David?
Yeah.
You like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah. So now the Severance reference.
Yeah.
Forgot. Yeah, we both watched Severance. We both seemed like we ate it up pretty quick.
Yep. Oh yeah, we watched like the last 3 last night.
Yeah, I think we watched. I think we finished it the day before, or no, last night was Saturday. I don't know, Thursday or Friday. I think we finished it, and there was like 4 episodes that we watched like all at once.
Well, it's very good at like ending on such a cliffhanger, or ending on such a like tease that you're like, I need to know what happens next.
It's more just like, for me, it's just really fun to watch. Like, even if there wasn't a cliffhanger, it's like I want to see more of this. It was really cool. The first episode too, I said to Kalia, I was like, this is like, in a way, I don't know if you've seen this movie, but it was giving me major Secret Life of Walter Mitty vibes. Have you seen that movie? No,
I know of it, but I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I know who's the main star of that movie.
Yeah, he also directed it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I was bringing it in. I was like, oh, it's directed by Ben Stiller, who also directed Walter Mitty.
Yeah.
Which I think Walter Mitty kind of has like a sort of mixed ratings, but that's like a personal favorite of mine. I absolutely love that movie. And so for me, that's a good sign. I'm just saying, like, some people might think that that's like a detriment, but coming from me, comparing it to Walter Mitty is a good thing because I love that movie. And it's like it has the same. Walter Mitty is not. It's not a sci-fi or anything like that, but it has the same sort of like sterile feel that this one does, and the comedy is like it feels like straight out of Walter Mitty. All the comedy that's in the show, and the kind of like blending of comedy with the drama aspects too.
Right.
Very very like Walter Mitty too, and I think that also kind of helped me get roped in because I really like the vibe of that movie and the show.
Yeah, we after James and Charlie were on the show, recommended it, and then you also said, I think at the end of the the other recording that we did, you said that it was really good. We were like, all right, we'll get Apple TV Plus to watch this, and yeah, we were pretty much hooked immediately. Adam Scott is so old.
I know, he's 49.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to like Parks and Rec Adam Scott.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh shit. But yeah, we pretty much we binged it, which goes against everything that I believe in. But we couldn't help it. I don't know how. I don't know. If you haven't seen it, don't listen because I don't want to not be able to talk about every aspect of the show. So
yeah. Skip like I don't know. 30 minutes ahead.
Yeah. I think the supporting cast is great too.
Yeah.
I think his name is Zach Cherry, who plays Dylan.
Dylan, yes.
Yeah. I think I was like, oh shit, it's the dude from Succession.
That's Zach Cherry?
He when Roman goes to like work at the theme park. Very briefly, and like he gets partnered up with someone and they have to like put together a presentation. Yeah, and like I think he plays a similar character. He's like, hell yeah, dude, I want to win this competition kind of thing. Which is his whole character is like he has like his little cup of like finger traps and all of like the shitty corporate office
love all the
perks.
To that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he's like flexing, like, yeah, I know I'm better than you because I have more finger traps or whatever, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like they're all bought and sold into the whole structure of like these, essentially like the meme of like, oh, you have shitty work conditions. Here's a pizza party, like that. Yeah. That's kind of like what it seems to be satirizing a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess getting like right into spoilers now because. You're referencing Succession. That's immediately when you see who Helly actually is, her outie. I was like, oh, she's a Roy now. She's one of them.
Yeah, and I don't know if like people saw that coming or not, but I feel like there were a decent amount of reveals in the show that like
totally
like blew me away. Like the reveal that his wife is actually Miss Casey, the wellness coordinator, which
that one I did know a little ahead. I was like, I kind of called that one, not like super early on, but like before the reveal.
Interesting. I guess what made you think that?
I don't know. It was just just like throughout the season there. I think it was just like enough mentions or something like that. Enough little like side comments where I was like. I wouldn't say I 100% knew or anything. I wasn't saying that, but like I had a guess. And then for sure when somebody shows the picture of her to somebody else, but it's out of focus, you can't see the picture, and I was like, it's her, 100%, it's her.
Interesting, because there is like the offhand line when Miss Cobell is with his sister, and like she's kind of telling him like, oh yeah, he got the job because his wife died in a car accident and he tried to go back to teaching and couldn't do it. And she says, oh, does he ever think that he sees her? Like, because that's like a thing.
That might have been one. Yeah.
Because there's like, that's like a real thing where like, when you're grieving, like sometimes you'll think that you see somebody and it's like, oh, no, that's not who it is.
Yeah.
But in this case, which I'm curious what they're going to do with like a second season, because they've like broken protocol so much that like, I don't know if they're just going to go back into the office.
I was talking with James for like an hour about like the show last night before we left. And yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering too, cuz like the one that I compared it to, and I think he might have said this too on the show maybe. But I don't know. I feel like we've talked about it enough times I should remember. Have you watched Watchmen, the show?
No.
Fuck. You should get on that.
Okay.
Really. But so I won't go specifically, but the way that show ends, and when they were making the season, I guess they were like, they kind of had they were like, yeah, we might make another season, we might not. And then when it finished and they wrapped up, they were just like, we're not going to make another season. Like the showrunners just decided, they're like, yeah, we're good. We're not going to do another one. Which on the one hand, it's like, I want more of that show. But on the other hand, it's like, is it going to ruin a good thing? Especially with like because the movie or the show ends with like on a cliffhanger sort of. It's more like a question. Something happens and it's like either this happens or this happens. It's one of two things.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's better to not know, in my opinion. I like that the show ended where it did, because either answer that you get, it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
And then like, where do they go from there? I guess it's like, it's funny because it's like either answer, whether it's A or B, is like less satisfying than not getting an answer. And I wouldn't say that with this. I wouldn't say that like, I definitely want to know the answer to like what happens after this one. But I am kind of worried of like, can they keep the momentum going like they did with like Watchmen? I was also worried, like, I don't know if they would be able to keep the momentum going of that story and of the excitement if they did a second season. And this one is like, it didn't feel like a finale, but it felt like they could do like 3 more episodes and then that could be it. So I'm like, a whole other season. I'm interested to see.
Yeah, there's like 9 or 10 more episodes ordered. So
yeah,
I mean, I want to say that I trust them
more. I don't know.
Yeah, I would trust them to like end it after like the story is done. I would hope so, because if you just milk it indefinitely, you get like a Walking Dead type situation where it's just like,
or a Lost, which could have been like a season or 2 shorter.
yeah. But because I feel like they introduced, because I think it was really smart of them to not show any of their outies until like the very end. Because that was like on my mind the whole time. I was like, okay, we're seeing Mark inside and out, and it's obviously like he's the protagonist. That's like the main focus of the show, so it makes sense that we would see that. But it's like there's like the one episode where Mr. Milchick, who I was waiting for him to break bad the whole show, and he didn't.
Oh, you mean like against Lumen?
Yes.
Like turn good. Oh. Okay.
I was like, I wasn't sure if he was gonna do it, because there was like the sequence where he gets Dylan in his like, he like basically has that protocol thing, and he makes Dylan like sever
the overtime.
It's
like OTS or something like that.
Yeah. Like I love all the like nonsense corporate jargon that the Lumen has, because I was like, oh, who does Milchick have like flipping the switches to like bring him back? I was like, oh, maybe because like he does that without Cobell's approval. So I was like, oh, okay, he's kind of going against the grain a little bit.
What was he? Why did he do
Because
that
stole
again?
he stole like the flash card from O&D. It looked
Okay.
at there were like those
Yeah.
little cards, and it looked like combat instructions.
Okay.
Which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
funny
yeah.
because like that was like a whole thing. They're like, oh yeah, O&D did a coup against Lumen, and then
Yeah.
like he's looking at it, and he does that thing where he like leans his hand back and like sneaks and puts it in his pocket, and then Milchick's like, you took this, where did you hide it?
Yeah.
And that's when he
right.
discovers that his Audi has a son, and that kind of like with each character, there's like an instance that like sets them against Lumen. Like same with like Irving when they took away
Bert.
Christopher Walken, Bert. Yeah. Which John Turturro, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
so good.
Kalia was like, she's like, why is he like the best part of everything that he's in? It's like,
Yep.
Yeah, he really is.
Yep.
He's fantastic.
And even with him, yeah.
Because like another show that I love, that he is amazing in. I think probably my favorite performance of his is The Night Of. He's fucking great in that show.
Okay.
He like steals the show. And then he's also in the Batman too, and he's great in that, the new one. I won't
sure.
say anything.
Okay.
I'm sure he is. But yeah, he's really funny. He's like he's one of the best actors at like injecting like the right amount of comedy into like like a serious thing. And like everybody does a good job, but I just think like in anything he's in, he's so good at that. Injecting comedy into even something like The Night Of, which is a very serious show. It's very, very serious. But there's like comedic elements, and he's really good at that. Yeah, and then I guess with Helly, her instance to turn against them is the fact that she's there, like at all, because she like instantly is like not cool with it, which to me seems like the response that literally anybody would have. But
right.
I think it's the way that they like kind of coach, and I like that they pin it on. Well, I mean, Mark kind of does it to himself, but he's like, "Oh, I messed up the welcome thing or something." Is like that's why she's like broken or whatever, because I didn't say like
I didn't do the
hello,
preamble.
welcome. Yeah, I didn't do the preamble. That was it. Yeah. But I think it's that way, and like if you don't have any memories like that, and like I guess if you think that that job is like all that there is, maybe it wouldn't seem as bad. Like to me, I'm thinking like, oh my god, if I was only at work 100% of the time, I would fucking kill myself.
Right.
Like, but maybe if you are the innie and that's all you know, that's all you have knowledge of. I don't know. Maybe it changes it for you. So, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, and that's why everything in there is so regulated, because as soon as you start to learn about like the outside world, like your natural curiosity kicks in, and then that's when they start to rebel.
Yeah.
Which I thought the sort of God, I'm trying to think of the word. The dichotomy of like Rickon, where like on the outside Mark is just like super dismissive of him because he's like this pompous philosopher, like kind of like dipshit, like new age guru moron, but like on the inside he gets his book and it's like the book is badly written, it's bad, but like inside in any Mark is like this, it's like he discovered the Communist Manifesto.
Yeah.
Because it's like talking about like the workplace,
so
and like it's like you are not your job kind of shit. And like when like they get the switch at the party in like the last episode, and he recognizes Rick and almost just like, oh my god, my god, your book changed my life. And he's just like, Mark, please you don't need to infantilize me. And he's like, no, I'm serious.
Yeah, that was so great. That whole
it was like intro to philosophy level writing.
Yeah, the fact that like from his perspective, he's like, oh my god, like I am meeting the one celebrity. Like, he's like, what are the chances that I would meet the one, like, my idol? And it's yeah.
And I think there's even like a line where he's like, he's my brother-in-law. Like he's like I get to be related to this guy. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to come and see me when I got home? No?
And God, I kept thinking Patricia Arquette's character was. I didn't think it was Patricia Arquette at first. I actually thought it was the actress who plays Dr. Melfi from The Sopranos, his therapist.
Okay, yeah. And I do know that person. I do know that character.
Lorraine Bracco, I think her name is, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in Goodfellas.
Yeah. Okay.
But
I was gonna mention, and like this was more apparent in the last episode. I don't think I've ever thought that Patricia Arquette is like a good actor, and I still don't. Like when she's like tearing up her room at the end, and she's like, I don't know. It's like she tried it, and for like the first time she had to like do this like crying like emotional shit in Dream Warriors, and she has stuck with that level of like cry emotion. So she is, when I see her crying in this, it's like, and it wasn't even like that was the first movie I'd seen of her, so I'm not basing this. I think probably the first thing I saw her in was Holes, and it's like, but even when she's just like normal, it's just, I don't know, nothing. She's the weak link, I would say, in the cast, in my opinion, where I just like wasn't vibing. And then when she's got to have her big freak out at the end, I was like, I'm just seeing fucking Kristen from Dream Warriors.
Oh man, you should watch Lost Highway. She's in that quite a bit, and I think she does.
That's right.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but she does. I think she does a lot of similar stuff like that.
Yeah.
That Lynchian, like kind of overacting, like extreme emotional responses to things.
Yeah. But yeah, that break really like kind of threw us off our groove. I never remember like what part we were on, but
yeah,
cast was good, twists were good.
Yeah, cautiously optimistic for a second season.
Yeah,
I want to trust the writers. I want to trust the process, but
for sure.
You know.
Yeah, I'm not like, I am more optimistic than not. It's just like I said, just a little cautious. Because it would be a bummer for this to, I guess like Game of Thrones is like a big thought where it's like, such a cool like build up most of the show, and then like where it leads is just so kind of
meh
that it makes the rest of the show kind of
yeah.
It like brings down the rest of the show in a way. I don't know.
Speaking of
still be able
another
to, like,
show,
we can move on. We also finished the rehearsal. Nathan Fielder's show, which we've talked about before. One of in a different sense from House, just one of the craziest fucking things I've ever seen. Just
consistently jaw-dropping moments in every episode.
Yeah, continuously like impressively like upping itself, upping the ante, upping the stakes.
Instead of having the rug pulled out from under you, you're running on a treadmill that is a rug. And it's just constantly moving.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see, this is the thing, like I don't really know what to say about this one other than just like it's
maybe the most meta show I've ever seen. Or like the way that like the layers of like rehearsals that he'll go through, or like the layers of like doing, like taking a situation that we just watched happen and then replacing actors to do what we just saw, but like so he could be like an outsider and observe how an actor portraying him responded, so he could apply that to his own life and how he himself responds to situations. It's very, I mean, it's presented, I think, very well, so that like watching it you totally understand like pretty much what's going on. But like conceptually it's like very heady. It's very, very heady. And it's like it's amazing how much like mainstream appeal it does have for a show that's like kind of not super accessible.
In a sense. It's like, say it's meta, but it's like it is meta. It is meta about meta or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, it's on a whole other level. And it's that like he has like random thoughts that he'll just like say like one off sentence, and then be like, and then he'll follow it up with like, so I did this insane thing, and I like all these other like layers deep into the rehearsal thing. Like, yeah, kind of like what you were saying about like watching other people, like when he's doing the acting class and then he like inhibits like one of the students, and then he like makes them get the jobs of the people that they're shadowing, so then he also gets a job like the same one that guy gets, and
goes to his real house in his bedroom, and like
tells, oh my god,
all like the plushies and like instruments and shit, and like actually goes to where this dude lives.
Forgot about that. He like makes up this whole thing about how he wants the others to like move out, and it's literally so he can occupy the guy's house while he's gone or whatever. Still really funny, but like also a lot, it's a lot more serious than like something like Nathan For You, I guess.
Yeah.
But still,
there's
like,
definitely
really
like
funny.
a more emotional core to it. Especially with the finale.
It's definitely like more and more so, like as the show went on, it's more and more representative of that final Nathan For You, so the Finding Francis. Like it so has that vibe throughout.
I laughed so hard when, because like the finale, it's like he seems to be pretty troubled that this child actor who like doesn't have a real father thinks that like he wants Nathan to be his real dad, and he's like trying to figure out like where he went wrong in making this child think that he was his real dad. And so he tries all these different things to like see how he could have done it with a different actor, but like when he had like the adult man playing like the child, and then there's like because like there's like Nathan's narration going on throughout.
I think
it.
you are gonna say the exact same that.
And he's like, sometimes I wondered if it was a mistake to have an adult man playing this child. And it cuts away to the dude standing in the yard in the pajamas, like vaping. And like, Chloe and I are like, we're kind of like, this is like an emotional episode. And then that little bit in there is just like, God damn it. It was so funny.
That is the exact part that I was gonna reference. That episode is like, with the little kid too, like all that, like he felt like bad for him or whatever, but also was like, I was like so nervous too, like what he was going to do. Like I was worried that in the spirit or whatever of the show, he was gonna like push it further. But I like that, like, he is the person Nathan Fielder, not necessarily the character Nathan Fielder. Is he actually, I think, like, legitimately understood, like, okay, I did actually kind of maybe like that, and that's like what makes it this and elements of Nathan For You too just so fascinating, is it's like it is so fucking hard from episode to episode to tell where the character of Nathan and the person ends. I feel like it's funny because in Nathan For You, it's like it is more obvious that he's playing a character. Although there's still scenes where he's still where it's a little more blurred, but in this one, at least where it starts, especially the first episode for the most part, feels really like genuine, like it's him. Maybe a little. He's still like a little strange, like when he's like explaining to the guy like how he staged their first meeting and stuff, and like I don't know, there's still a level of fakeness to him or whatever. But as this one goes on, I think to me it feels more and more apparent that he is still playing a character or whatever. Like for instance, the very ending where he says like I'm your dad, and then it's like it's the last thing, and then he's like, I thought you were my mom, and then he's like, no, I'm your dad. It's like that 100% to me is the character, right? I don't think, but I do think the way that he was reacting to the actual kid, like at his house and all that, I think that was probably genuine, like Nathan Fielder, because he was actually being like, and the impetus for that whole episode went was his genuine actual feelings, like, okay, I do maybe need to like reevaluate how I do this, because maybe that wasn't cool when that happened.
Yeah. Well, it's just so funny because as each episode aired, I feel like there were more and more think pieces and tweets about like, is this show ethical? Is he a manipulator? Is he bad for being a manipulative person? And then the finale was Nathan kind of being like, oh yeah, maybe that was kind of, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe that was like the whole show led up to him being like, maybe this is a mistake.
Yeah.
But then they got greenlit for a second season, so
really curious to see what's gonna happen.
I hope the second season, because I don't want to say that I was like disappointed in this season, but I think the first episode was like so strong, and I really hope, and then it became like this house and this commentary on fatherhood and parenthood and like these micro interactions with him and Angela and like his various kids or whatever. I hope with the second season it maybe dials back on that, and it's more of these like case by case kind of stories.
I would be
where
okay
it's like,
with that. Yeah.
It's like these people that have like these weird social interactions that they don't want to deal with. I would love to see an entire season of him like building replicas of like locations where they're going to rehearse these conversations and scenarios, and like I would love to see more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because when the show, because we first talked about it after the first episode, and at that point I think that's what we both thought, right?
Yep.
I would not have expected it to do one episode like that and then the rest of it be about this one thing.
Yeah.
They do have that other guy that they do the rehearsal with, the one that like leaves halfway through.
Yeah.
I don't even remember like what his deal was, but
for me, maybe their original intention was to do that with the show, but
maybe.
When that guy left and they were like, oh, this is actually like really hard to like keep people on the hook for doing these things. Maybe they were like, okay, well, maybe there's more to this like Angela parenthood story here, and they just kind of rolled with it and said, okay, well, this is like the narrative direction of the show now.
Yeah. I could believe that it was, they changed it like partway through. But yeah, and like you said, I would 100% be cool with it if they just were able to do that, because that first episode was great. It was really, it was also really fascinating in a different way.
Right. And I want to see him spend more of HBO's money on making more and more elaborate sets.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, because we only got, I guess they did do a set of the kid's mom's house at the end, which I was like, of course they're going to do that.
Yeah.
Got to get one more in.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm trying to think what they do, like what they set up like right before that, but he like lays out so much of like the ground rules of how it operates in that first episode too, like how he's like, oh, I had a fake like extermination or like electrical team come in, but all they were doing was taking like 3D scans of your house. And then I feel like you'll see, and there's other things that he does like that in the first episode that he explains, and I feel like that stuff happens at other points in the series. Like I feel like maybe you see something like that with the mom's house at the end. You see them do that, but like they don't explain it, and then later they have the model and you're like, oh, because they did that, or like you know, so they're still showing it, they're just not explaining it, and you're like, oh,
right,
they did already like set this up and stuff.
Big fan, ready for season 2, ready for more.
Yep.
Although my only concern is like I feel like it's just going to be harder and harder to do now that more people are like aware of him and like his shtick. That like that's kind of how I felt with like the Eric Andre show, where it's like the more popular and like kind of mainstream appeal Eric Andre got, the more and more difficult it would be to get those authentic like man on the street shit that Eric Andre was able to pull off in the first couple seasons when he was like a relative nobody. I mean, even with the popularity of like Nathan For You, I feel like the Rehearsal just elevated that even more. So it's just like I think they're just gonna have to be like super duper selective. Or I mean, maybe this is only because people that I know about this show, because like in the first episode, that dude like didn't seemingly know who Nathan Fielder was. Like if I answered a Craigslist ad and then Nathan Fielder showed up, I'd be like, oh shit, you're Nathan Fielder. I know generally your shtick and like what you're going to be doing, and like it would be hard to like separate myself from that mindset of like being on a Nathan Fielder production. So hopefully he doesn't run into any like too much trouble with like a second season with people being like, yeah, I want to be on the Rehearsal now.
Yeah, that could happen. I think different from like Nathan For You or Eric Andre show. I think that is more of a concern, definitely. I think that's partly why those shows are like not still going, is because the more well known you are, the harder it is to do that kind of stuff. But with the Rehearsal, and yes, it's gotten a lot of like talk online, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's seeing it. So I think more people will be aware of like, oh, this guy has a show, and it's a little weird. Like I'm just saying, like the average person that he could potentially have on the show, they might be aware of him, but I don't know if like everybody's like watching it, and like if you don't actually watch it, you could hear like, oh yeah, this guy. Oh, you're gonna be on that. He's a strange
guy.
Yeah, like they might hear from somebody be like, oh, you're gonna be on the Rehearsal. Okay, like that show is like pretty weird. The guy is like weird, blah blah blah. So they might be like have like a primer on like the general vibe. But I don't think that ruins it, because he is. Yeah. When he's actually doing the thing with the guy in the first episode, like he's not really. I mean, other than the things that like like how he like feeds him the trivia answers or whatever.
Right.
It's not like he's hiding anything from him. Like he is.
Yeah.
More or less, how he like explains shit to him and everything is like, it's how it goes. So like, I'm not quite as worried about that with this show. I think it has more of a buffer. But there is a chance that like if somebody watches it and like really knows him, then they could play up to it or something like that.
Yeah, and hopefully they'd be able to like weed those people out or something.
Yeah, right. Or my thinking is like dig into that. I could very well see that happening too.
That's true.
Like, I don't know what exactly he would do, but like really like hone in on like, oh, now in this scenario, this person knows who I am and everything. So how do I manipulate that, or how do I,
Right.
how do I Nathan Fielder this
Right.
situation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we are going long.
Yeah, we are. I know. Yeah.
This is old duds.
Definitely. Yeah, this is old duds. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
There's some stuff to cut.
there's definitely stuff to cut, but Rehearsal and Severance are both just like big things.
Yeah, they're meaty.
Yeah.
Oh damn! Maybe next episode I'll talk about Men because I saw that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess this is another thing we can cut.
Yeah.
Just I guess because I am kind of thinking for time now. But Ethan and James were talking about the Game of Thrones prequel, The House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
And they were like, because they both watched the premiere, and they're like, oh yeah, but if you guys watched it, just be prepared. There's like a scene, and then James was like, oh yeah, and he's like, you know what I'm talking about? He's like, yeah. He's like, the birthing scene, and he's like, yeah. And I was like, what is it? And like, oh well, you see like the breach, and then they say that like they need to do a C-section, so they just like cut her open or whatever, and like it's still pretty gross. But I was like, oh okay, and I was just like, you guys should watch Men. I don't know if it's as bad as that.
Yeah, that was shocking.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. We can say that next time. Yeah, that'll be a fun one to like, for me to be able to like talk about a little bit more too. Okay. So, next week, movie. Be interested if we can keep our, not counting duds, keep our Asian cinema train going. Let's see. I mean, there's a fair amount in there, but like I also have like European ones, but it's just like we keep just pulling.
Yeah.
Keep
We're on a
pulling
train.
Yeah. Come on round the train. Nope. I'm actually not sure whose movie this is. From 1971. Oh, this might be mine because maybe it's his first movie. Sorry. From 1971, directed by Steven Spielberg. Duel.
Oh, okay.
Duel. And I feel like I probably put it on there because, yeah, I think this might be his first movie.
Oh, interesting.
So I do that. If there's like certain dudes, I would, because a lot of first movies I haven't seen I still haven't seen PTA's first movie.
Oh yeah, same. I bought a copy of it. I like special ordered like an Australian Blu-ray of Hard 8 because that's the only way to get it on Blu-ray is like some random ass import. I still haven't seen it though.
And then another one that I know I put in Peter Jackson's first movie too.
Okay.
Bad Taste.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there's a few that's in there. So yeah, cool. I don't really know what it's about. I literally just, I'm pretty, like I said, I put it on because it's his first movie, and who knows? We'll see. Well, cool. That'd be interesting. I'm really curious about this one. It looks like it's for rent on Google Play, YouTube, Apple TV, like all the big ones.
Sick.
It has nobody I know in it, which makes sense, I guess, because pre-Jaws and all that. So yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled for Duel, make sure you watch that on one of those platforms or whatever before next week's episode. These episodes come out every Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST in video form, and on Twitch and YouTube, and then in podcast form on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I always feel like there's supposed to be one more, and that's why I always like trail off there, but I think that's it.
I think that's it, yeah.
Yeah. So with all that, man, we did talk so much. I was like, what movie did we do this week? With that, I am. We never came up with our nicknames.
Oh yeah.
I am Critic. I guess that's mine.
Oh, okay.
Critic, your gumpy looking hot teacher.
Damn it. I was gonna go with yeah.
TJ, aka J Spot Jack Cheese.
And as always, I am your. Oh man, I don't know. The first thing I thought of was Baldy, so I'm Baldy. Your freaking out cat.
Nice.
Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch.
All right. Bye bye.